We are back. Time for another film breakdown. Very excited to talk a little BYU this week. Was not expecting to have BYU on my list of film breakdowns for the season, but here we are. The Cougars are having a fantastic year. They are one win and some help away from clinching a spot in the Big 12 championship game. If they win out, they will be there. And I think when you look at this BYU team, it's all about Bear Bachmeier. And I know it can be weird sometimes seeing a number 47 play the full-time quarterback position. As a former quarterback myself, it's certainly off-putting, but who knows? Maybe that's actually creating a little bit of bias against BYU, some visual bias that really shouldn't be there, because when I watch the film on Bear Bachmeier and this BYU offense, I see a big, tough, physical team that is not afraid of the moment. And despite the fact that Bachmeier is a true freshman, he seems like he's got his you-know-what together. Even when they were getting pummeled by Texas Tech a few weeks ago, he still kept his cool, still made some plays in the second half. They had a very slight chance to cover that spread and, through the back door there late. But in general, I really love what I've seen from Bachmeier this year. He's a big, strong kid, and again, unafraid in the pocket to make some of those throws and to beat you in tough spots. So the matchup this week, as I get to the film here, so I'm going to show you the BYU tape on offense against Iowa State. Why am I showing you Iowa State film? Well, they play Cincinnati this week. And Cincinnati, similar to Iowa State, similar to TCU actually, plays a very unique style of defense. It is essentially a 3-3-5 stack defense. You'll see here, and actually on this particular play, they have one of their linebackers right here walked up to the line of scrimmage. But if you look closely, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and they play essentially with this umbrella 5 defensive back system. It's a very heavy zone coverage system. Again, in this particular situation, this hybrid safety linebackers walked up to the line of scrimmage. Once the snap happens, he's going to drop back into zone. They're just kind of faking like they're going to blitz you. And they will bring some blitz pressures out of this look. But this is very similar to what Cincinnati plays. It's, again, a very heavy zone coverage scheme with 3 down linemen and 3 linebackers. And the reason why I think Bachmeier is going to have success in the game against Cincinnati, well, in the last 3 weeks, again, he's faced Iowa State. He's faced TCU, 2 teams that play a very similar scheme. And those were his 2 highest passing grades of the season. 6 big-time throws, 1 turnover-worthy play. His adjusted accuracy rate in those 2 games against Iowa State and TCU was over 80%. So BYU scored 41 and 44 points in those 2 games. My point being, something about Bear Bachmeier's style, throwing outside the numbers, pushing it deep down the field to his talented receivers, and also being patient with taking the underneath stuff, that is why he's had success against this style of defense, right? This defensive style, you can beat them deep if you have good receivers who can run past, and because of their zone scheme, you can beat them in the underneath stuff. They're much tougher to beat in the middle of the field. They're protecting intermediate middle. So you have to be willing to go away from those areas. And Bachmeier has the arm strength, and he's got the receiving skill, receivers who have the skill to beat you outside the numbers. This first play is just an advantage of him, is just a example of him being patient. This is 2nd and long, and he's just going to take the check down here. You see once the defense drops, like right at the snap, defense drops, right? You get this really zone-heavy look where you're basically protecting 15 yards down past the line of scrimmage, and you're protecting everything deep. Well, where are the pockets going to be available? Those are the dead areas of the defense underneath. And Bachmeier, he wasted no time. I mean, he got the snap, and he basically threw the check down right away. And receiver did a nice job getting to the outside, picking up a couple of extra yards after the catch, and you set up 3rd and manageable. So here is 3rd and manageable. And this is an advantage, or this is an example of Bachmeier's arm strength. He is just going to rip this comeback. So I want you to see, he is on the far hash, and the hash marks in college are wider than the NFL. So he's on the wide, or the far side of the field. And again, you can see the 3 down linemen look, 3 linebackers. There are your 5 defensive backs right there. They're in this 3-3-5 stack. They're going to drop, 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 drop. And this comeback is going to be available. You're going to see the receiver here at the bottom of the screen push this vertically. He's going to get the defensive back to turn his hips and run. And once he does that, he's going to break that comeback off. And the timing with Bachmeier is going to be fantastic. And watch how he rips this throw. Again, this is Ames, Iowa in late October. Comeback, ripped on a line, perfect timing, gain of 15. So these are the types of throws Bear Bachmeier can make. He is able to put it outside the numbers with pace and velocity and timing. And I think that's going to give this 3-3-5 stack Cincinnati defense a lot of problems in this game. All right, here's a goal line play. And these are the bad. So the positives of this 3-3-5 that they play is you're not going to get beat deep. You're likely going to not give up the explosive play. You're going to force the defense to go 8 or force the offense to go 8, 10, 12 plays to score a touchdown. But the problem is sometimes if not everyone is on the same page, or if you just have a bad play called, you're going to get beat because you don't get a ton of pressure, which means the quarterback has a lot of time to throw in the pocket. In this particular case, you're going to see essentially Iowa State make a wall on the goal line. The problem is they have nobody to defend the back of the goal line. And you're going to get a receiver. I believe it's number 11 right here. They've got this stack formation. And it's just a switch release. And you're going to see number 11 run to grass in the back of the end zone. I mean, this is, and the reason why Bachmeier is able to make this throw is because you have 3 down linemen and none of them are able to get pressure. Ready? Let's count it out. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4 seconds. And Bachmeier is able to find a wide open receiver in the back of the end zone. So that's the problem with this 3-3-5. Look, you have 5 defenders guarding the 5-yard line and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 2 defenders. You've got 2 defenders guarding 1 receiver. 2 Ds and 1 hole. On that stack release. So you did not have good communication between these 2 defenders to pass off this inside route. And that's a good throw by Bachmeier. Layered throw, right? That back end zone, that back end line is another defender. So you have to layer the throw over the linebacker and able to be catchable before you get to the back of the end zone. And Bachmeier, again, has the velocity, and he also has the touch to make this throw. Final play I want to show you. This is 1st and 10. This is in the second half. So, again, still, you're seeing the same formation, right? There's your 3 down linemen. There's your 5 defensive backs. The problem here is no pressure. Let's count it out again. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5 seconds. And eventually, right, if you're defending 2 deep middle, looks like a 2 deep look here. Probably a flat, hook curl flat defender. And then you got these 3 guys guarding the middle. It looks like that's the zone scheme that they're in. Again, they can run all kinds of different zones out of this 3-3-5. When you have 5 defensive backs on the field, you can put them in all different types of different directions. That's why the 13 personnel phenomenon in the NFL has been so effective, because when you only have 4 defensive backs on the field, you can only run so many types of coverages. But when you have 5 defensive backs on the field, you can run quarters, you can run cover 3, you can run cover 6, you can run cover 8. There's all different types of schemes you can run. In this particular case, it looks like they're running a deep cover 2, where you have these 2 guys covering the deep half. Then you have, again, flat, and then middle. Well, that's the pocket that's going to be open right there. The deep outside the numbers throw that not all quarterbacks can make. Again, watch the velocity. Bear Bachmeier is on the 45-yard line. He makes this throw to the 20 from the outside hash mark. Again, this is probably a 50-yard throw. And watch, it is on a line, does a good job resetting his feet, a little bit off balance, and puts it right on the money. So I am really excited to see Bear Bachmeier get after this Cincinnati secondary. Now, Brendan Sorsby on the other side has been fantastic for the Bearcats this year. I think this game could have a little back and forth nature to it. Sorsby hasn't been great against man coverage. BYU does play a lot of man. I actually bet his under last week against Arizona, his passing yards prop under, which came home pretty easily. He did not have a good game against that Arizona defense. But I think the focus for me in this game is the BYU offense, a big physical offensive line. We know they can run it, and they're going to be facing this funky 3-3-5 Cincinnati stack, which does have some vulnerabilities. If Bear Bachmeier can attack deep outside the numbers and then take his checkdowns, can't go broke taking a profit. If the defense drops and plays that really deep zone and you've got checkdowns underneath, take them. Get your 5-10 yard chunks. And then when you have the opportunity to attack deep outside the numbers, which is where this coverage scheme is typically vulnerable, you have to take those advantages as well. I like the receivers for BYU. Chase Roberts, 6'4", 215. Good luck covering him. And then their slot guy, Parker Kingston, had a fantastic game against Iowa State. Those two guys combined against the Cyclones, 261, 2 touchdowns. They had a ton of success deep outside the numbers. 3 out of the 4 big-time throws were deep left or deep right. So I think Bear Bachmeier is going to have a big game. I think BYU is going to go into Cincinnati and win this game. The spread's under a field goal right now. I would definitely bet the Cougars here. And I think it's going to set up a really fun Big 12 championship rematch in a couple weeks between BYU and Texas Tech. Should be really fun. Keep an eye on Bear Bachmeier props and BYU to go into Cincinnati to get a big win this week. Hope you enjoyed the film breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button on your way out. Love you. Talk to you next time.